Hey, if you want to be part of the Intellectual Property School, what you need to do is go below and fill out the application. And let me tell you why you want to fill it out. Because at the end of July, the price is going to go up. So you want to go ahead and get in now and reserve your phone call. Go ahead, get in the application. Now, what do we do in the Intellectual Property School? We teach you how to make money with your mind. This is one of the greatest events in my life, learning how to make money with my mind. The most money I've ever made in my life. So if you want to be part of that experience and you want to get in before the price goes up, go below, fill out the app. So with that, let's get into today's video. Money, and money. How does the role of money, or should I say, what role does money play in the journey of entrepreneurship? And before we even get into that, let's talk about, there's a lot of entrepreneurs in the United States of America. There's like 31 million of them. And the average income for these entrepreneurs, these hardworking people, is about $75,000 to $80,000 a year. And one of the things that we need to discuss is, what role does money play in your business? And I'll share some of the pathway that I took. Years and years ago, I was making really good money. What is good money? $200,000, $300,000 a year. That was really good money. And I had come from a background of being somewhat impoverished. So I was really careful with my money, because I know what it's like to be living in a place you don't want to live. I know what it's like to not have food to eat. I know what it's like to be in a really bad situation. So I was really careful with that money, and I didn't go overboard with the spending. And what this has done has created somewhat of a birthing canal for new and future businesses. Because yes, I do talk a lot about business credit. Business credit is important, but money is really important. Actually having cash money in the bank is very important if you're an entrepreneur. And I know the likes of Grant Cardone and the likes of many people is like, don't save any money. You should invest everything. Okay, here's the thing. If you're an average person that's starting your first business, chances are you don't have a lot of money. And one of the things that you have to understand, and this is why I have the money management course, which is free, the link's below, because you must learn how to manage money to somehow grow richer and wealthier in the future. Because if you're like, give you an example, there's a few things that I want to get, and they're on what I call my development map. I don't just go out and buy stuff. If I see something I want, I create a plan and I create a roadmap to get it, even though at the moment I am currently sitting on the cash and sitting on the credit where I can go get these things. But what this does is it puts you in the position where you could be vulnerable. And this is my recipe for success. If there's something I want, I'll create a development plan for it. It will make my business better. And then once I reach certain milestones, then I'll go out and get it. So I'm not a casual shopper unless I'm on vacation. When I'm on vacation, that rule goes out the window. I will spend money, whatever, I will spend money in the hotel lobby. I will order room service. I will buy stuff because I'm on vacation. But when I'm not on vacation, I am very conscious and really look at money from a very practical paradigm. And going back to how I was living, going back to the pathway that I was on, when I started to come into money, I got scared because I know what it's like to be without money. So the pathology that I'm about to give you is going to be from my recipe of being a person who didn't have money to a person who came into money to a person that has learned how to hold money. Now, I just gave you 3 different elements: the person who didn't have money, the person who came into money, and the person that learned how to hold on to money. And this is one of the reasons that my spending isn't, I have dedicated spending. I just don't go out and buy stuff. Maybe I'm weird in that direction, because like I can go out in the mall and I can see some stuff. And if I see something that I like, and let's kind of go ahead and talk about budgets. I actually have a pretty high budget for a lot of stuff. And if there's something I want and it fits into that budget, I'll just go ahead and get it. But if it's something like the Porsche, or if it's something like a house, or something that's really expensive, I will go ahead and put that under the development plan versus just spending a lot of money without a plan. And this is where money becomes in the role of an entrepreneur. And let's go ahead and say your name is Iris. And Iris, you just started your business. You're a regular run-of-the-mill person, and you start your business and it starts to do well. You start to make money. And Iris, you have a job. And you're at a point where your business, and let's say this is going towards the end of year 2, where your business is making enough money that you're considering quitting your job. And my advice to you, Iris, would be, once again, you should get on the developmental map. Once again, I had a client who had a business that was making a lot of money. She wanted to quit her job, but we spelled out specific goals. I want you to have this much money cash in the bank before you quit your job. Now, why do we go through these rigmarole? Why do we go through these steps? First of all, we're developing new habits and we're developing new behaviors, because one of the things, and this is one of the reasons that so many people in America are in trouble, as soon as they get money, they find something to spend it on. They find some place to put it. And as an entrepreneur, you need to put yourself on the money developmental map versus just blowing money. Like years ago, even though I was earning 7 figures, my monthly expenses were like $2,500 per month, even though I was earning 7 figures. And I'm gonna tell you why. I've been in business long enough to know that business goes up and business goes down. And I've learned a long, long time ago to never adjust my personal spend on 1 year of a successful business, because if 1 year you can have a business where it can be really, really successful, then next year it could tank. Typically on the developmental map, what I like to do is have 2 to 3 years of that revenue before I adjust my personal spend. And that has worked out really, really well, because here's the thing. You don't want to be driving a Porsche and then 2 years down the road, you got to go out and get you a Dodge, or you got to get you a Prius or something like that, because your money has changed. As an entrepreneur, what you want to do is to spend your money in accordance to your revenue. And this is one of the things, because you see, and this is something that I try not to do, but it kind of slips out. I don't want to be showing you lifestyle, the Porsche, the house, and all this other stuff, without giving you the template, the engine that can help you get those things by starting a successful cash flowing business. And this is where the money and entrepreneurship gets mixed up, because from a business standpoint, I have a lot of money in my business checking account. Taxes have been paid. And that is money that, in case my business needs something, I have the money to go ahead and use that money to make my business better. That's something I've been really, really good about. And typically, one of the things that you have to understand as an entrepreneur, once again, I'm going to be repetitive. This is why the money management course is free. You must manage your money very, very well. That's the first thing you must do. And this is something you need to do before you start your business. You need to have your money correct, you need to have your credit straight, and you need to have money in the bank before you start your business. I know that goes contrary to a lot of the information that you see here on the internet, which is, and one of the things that I hate to see, because I'm going to explain to you why I hate to see it, but you would have someone who would come across a business owner who's been really successful, and the first question, all right, I understand you're good now, but if you lost it all, how would you build it back up again? I'm about to share something to you that I'm going to share a conversation that I had with you. There's people who are called wealth managers and wealth preservation specialists. And this is when you come into a sum of money and you hire one of these people, and they're going to sit down and they're going to say, congratulations, you're really wealthy. And they're going to be talking from a different standpoint. And this is one of the things that I learned when I talked to my wealth manager. What you want to do is take 80% of your money and put it into boring, non-risky investments. The bulk of your money goes into boring, non-risky investments. This may be dividend bonds, this may be, real estate, just depending on how much money you have. And what these wealth managers will do is put you in the position where regardless of what happens in the future, you will never ever be broke again. And this is why when people ask this question, I know that they have never been close to money, real money, because once you go ahead and make a certain amount of money and you go ahead and have the proper wealth managers in place, you will never be broke again. You will never lose it all again, because one of the things, I was talking to a wealth manager, and it's like, one of the things he says, you need to make a promise to yourself that you will not touch this money that's in investments that's working for you. You will not liquidate or sell or put that money at risk. And if you have a good wealth preservation specialist and you have a good wealth manager and you listen to these people that you're paying money to, guess what? You're never going to lose all your money. Because every time I see that conversation, I have to take a few steps back, because I understand that these people have never been around any real money. And for the sake of this conversation, we're going to say the real money is $1 million, taxes paid. They've never been around that money, and that's why there's this internet phase that, yeah, you got all this money right now, you're doing well, but what if you lost it? How would you get it back? What they're really saying is, tell me what I need to do at my level so I can get on your level. That's what they're really asking, but they want to phase it as, if you lost all your money, if you went broke, how would you go ahead and get it back? There's something that's called perpetually wealthy. Once you get to a certain, let's go ahead and put some real numbers out here. Let's say you come across, you have a business, you sell your business, and at the end of selling your business, you have $10 million cash. $10 million cash. Properly invested and properly handled, your grandchildren will not be broke. Just 10 million. So one of the things is, as the role of money in an entrepreneur's life is, you've got to understand the power of money. And this is where, when we get into being a successful entrepreneur, when you get to 7 figures and you can have 7 figures in the bank, taxes paid, that puts you in the top 3% of the country, top 3%. And if you've got, let's say 5 million cash, that would put you in the top 1%, or probably less than 1% of the country in terms of pure net wealth. $5 million cash, liquid. And this is why I like to use numbers and explain this stuff to you, because you see a lot of people out here who would be talking about when they get real wealth, and these people make really good money. They're making 6 figures, 7 figures, whatever they're doing. They're making really good money, and they're making the money that would make them wealthy in the future if properly invested or properly utilized. But as an entrepreneur, you need to understand the power of money, and you need to understand this. All right, you're an entrepreneur. You have a business, it's making you a lot of money. I want you to listen to me on this. There is no investment that you can invest your money into that's going to make the kind of money that your business makes you. There's nothing out there that's going to, like, literally this business that has made millions of dollars, the most I invested was $5,000, like 2010-ish. So I know as an entrepreneur, there's nothing that I could put my money into, deposit my money into, and get the same return. There are things I can invest in and get a substantial return, but there's nothing that I can invest in that's going to get me the return of a business. There's nothing. And this is one of the things you have to understand, because one of the things that I consistently see is people want to argue from a point of theory versus arguing from a point of practicality. I have a business and I'm investing in stocks, I'm investing in real estate, I'm doing all this other stuff, right? And every time I see that kind of comment, I know that I'm talking to a deluded entrepreneur, because if you were to put all that energy and focus into your business, you can make 10 times more money. And this is one of the reasons that I make it plain and clear. I'm not an investor. I don't have a bunch of money just sitting around to invest in someone's business. That's just not the thing that I do. And as an entrepreneur, you need to understand that, yes, you should have investments. Let's be really clear about that. But you should understand that if you invest $100,000 and you can get a 10% return. Let's go ahead and say 12% return. So for every $100,000 you have invested, you get $12,000 per year back. That's a really good investment. So once you understand that concept, for you to retire, this tells you that you're going to need to have millions invested. Let's say you get a 12% return on $1 million. That's $120,000 a year. So if you wanted to live like you're living now from your business income, that means you're going to need to have $3 million invested. $3 million invested at a 12% return is $360,000 a year. After taxes and stuff, it's still several $100,000. And this is one of the things that you have to understand as an entrepreneur, because this is one of the things I see people who literally start a new business. I'm an investor, I'm a philanthropist, and I'm just sitting there like, with what? So once again, being an entrepreneur and understanding money, the most powerful thing that you can do is have that business that is making active cash flow, not passive cash flow. Because you would need several million invested to get, like, Grant Cardone. I have a love-hate relationship with Grant Cardone because Grant Cardone, I should clarify this statement. I know the old Grant Cardone because I used to watch his YouTube channel years ago. He's been on YouTube for a long time. And then there's this new Grant Cardone, never save any money, invest all your money. Once again, unless you have millions to invest to get a return that's going to be worth getting, in my opinion, average person making the average income just doesn't have any money to invest. And this is where when you become an entrepreneur, you create a business, you start making this money. This is when you start to get into the realm of having money to invest and to become an investor. Because one of the things is, and we're going to have more conversations like this, as an entrepreneur, creating your business and creating that cash flow will be one of the best investments you'll ever make in your life. And if you can do that, and if you could create that and you can build that, this is a game-changing situation for you and the things that you're doing and the attention and the things that you're putting out there. This is a very different perspective, because as an entrepreneur, and this is something you need to understand, you always need to have money in your business checking accounts. There always needs to be cash money in your business checking account. You cannot be what I call the robbing entrepreneur. You literally rob your business of all of the money. You can't do that. You've got to learn how to work in proportions. And one of the things that you have to understand, and this is why I'm having this conversation with you guys, is investing can be good. Investing can be great. Let's say you built a business, you're like 45, and someone wants to buy your business. After taxes and everything, you have to sell your business. You've got $10 million. That's money that you can invest, and that's money that you can get a return where you can live a fantastic lifestyle. But once again, once we start talking about, because one of the things I get is like, hey, where can I invest this $5,000? Where can I invest this $10,000? Where can I invest this $50,000? $50,000 cash is a lot of money. But in terms of investing, you're not going to get a lot of return from a $50,000 investment. And this is one of the reasons that I created the Corporate Citizen Program, to get people up to that $250,000 level where they have money to live very well, money to pay their taxes, and money to put into long-term investments. Because notice the term I said, long-term investments. Because, if you go ahead and look at a stock chart and you look at it, the math never changes. You have to put money in the market, and there's an expression, time in the market is better than timing the market. And if you're in the stock market 20 years and you had money in there 20 years working, the return, the yield, the dividends are going to be much greater than if you were just in the stock market for a year or 2 or 3, unless you were doing options trading, which is a totally different video. But once again, as an entrepreneur, and this is something that I have seen over the years, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm investing in real estate, I'm doing all this other stuff, and I'll ask this simple question. What is your net worth? I never get an answer. You wanna know why I never get an answer? Because they're ashamed to say what their net worth is, because they're out there spending a lot of time just playing around and doing all these things. So as an entrepreneur, the greatest thing that you can do is to stay focused and attached to your business and get it to the point where it's making active income. This is the greatest thing that you can do for your business. This is one of the greatest things you can do as an entrepreneur, is to stay on top of your business and to do the things that you need to do to make more. So being an entrepreneur and understanding the financial dynamics of money and how money works, business credit, personal credit, and personal capital all makes a lot of sense. And this is why the average entrepreneur needs to be schooled in money. And I know the term "I'm an investor" sounds very, very sexy, but the reality is, unless you have a lot of money, you're not going to make a lot of money from investing. It's just not happening. All right, so for you guys who want to be the corporate citizens of the future, go in, fill out the app. And if you fill out the app and schedule your call before the end of July, you will still get that discounted price, even if we don't talk until sometime in August. But you got to reserve that. If you go ahead and fill out the app August 2nd and talk about, hey, I want that cheaper price, ain't in the cards for you. So go below, fill out the app, and so we can schedule a call and we can talk to you about what you can do in the Intellectual Property School. My name is Glendon Cameron. I will see you guys in the next video.